And there it is. Pretty exciting, guys. I mean, I kind of feel like it's becoming a truck.
Definitely.
I'm like...
And there is... this is real proper stance on this thing.
What do you think? What up, guys? So we are at Morgan's shop. Our boy Jensen lives out here. We just did his Tundra episode, but figured it's time to stop by and see what we got on this thing. Progress. So, Quike, what do you think of the truck?
It's awesome, and I like how you're turning it into a trophy truck.
Cool, man. Kind of wannabe trophy truck, but pretty
got big parts on it.
Pretty excited.
Yeah.
So
big parts on the corners.
Morgan, take us through what's been going on. I'm just gonna hand this off to Morgan as I usually do.
My week, well,
Here, bro.
My week's been busy, so what I did is I did a quick run through just to write stuff down of what we did since last time.
Okay.
We were working on this trim piece last time. This is 8th, so it doesn't flop around. It'll get a weather strip just so it's not contacting the glass. There was just a big gap here, and I think it was built for like a factory cowl.
Yes.
Of an OEM truck. So just did something really simple to let it breathe a little bit, access the master cylinders over there, and cover things up. So form follows function on that thing. The other thing I kind of wanted to improve, a lot of these trim panels, you see that they just have cutouts where these caps are. And usually they're like flush and you just can't get these things off. And so if this is just open like this, you can service this and you can just get this going really easy where you're not trying to reach into a little hole.
Super convenient.
Yeah, so just this truck, the whole thing with this for James is just to make it easy.
Right.
Not something that needs to be constantly worked on and prepped and
Well, sometimes I have my hands full.
all the time.
You know?
Mini fenders got finalized. Obviously we had to trim these things for 40, so if you look over here, James, like there's not a lot of meat here. So I just did a 1/2-inch chromoly tube brace in here that tags 3 locations per side.
Okay.
Just simple, so this thing doesn't blow off. These are like notorious for just blowing off.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that should keep them on the truck a little longer.
That's a strong brace, man.
Yeah, it's just for what it is. It only needs to be 1/2-inch material.
Okay.
It's such a small area. That's enough structure for what it needs. Last episode, we talked about making the decision to cut the rear part of the chassis off where the spares are, and do 2 lay-down 40s instead of vertical. There just wasn't the right packaging to have lay-down 40s.
Okay.
So that part's gone. I did come in here and I welded the B-pillar crossbar. I welded all the structural stuff in here. We redid this whole thing. Last time you guys saw this was all root passed. So now it's final passed.
Okay.
The roof was cut out in certain areas to access the top of that. So just finish that.
Close that up.
Close that all up. It's gonna get wrapped, so I didn't really stress finishing it to the nth degree.
So I see this tube too you guys put in here?
Yeah, so that's your harness bar tube.
Okay.
I don't really believe in having your shoulder restraints on like an eyelet. I like to have them, grasping something with using the material of the shoulder strap.
Right on.
Another reason why this is here, this is structural, but it's also to grab the harnesses.
Okay.
So there's not like an eyelet, like a, like this is an eyelet. This tack broke, but this is the thing. I'd use this for your lap belts. But just something about the shoulder straps, I just like to have them looped
To a
around.
tube, yeah.
We'll touch on the bed sides in a second. This is the new structure. So this is just your stopper. You kind of see, I went with miters. A miter is a joint that's butted up. Like this tube and this tube are at a certain angle. So say if this is at a 60-degree angle, then you'd make a 30-degree cut on this guy, a 30-degree cut on that guy. You'd put them together and miter them.
Okay.
A lot of times I do a partition, which is like a little wall in between the stuff, but in an area like this, it's not structural enough to matter. So this is just tube to tube. This junction grabs it. We reconfigured the junction. I think that this shares the load more and disperses the load as far as where the bump zone is, where this structure is. That's all you needed.
Okay.
Salvaged some of the bedside mount.
Okay.
Need to just kind of clean up the welds. Everything is root passed on here. I started to do final welding on here, but you can see anytime we weld chromoly and especially structural stuff, I do a single root pass first and then come back with a cover pass. So most of this stuff has just got its root pass on it.
Yeah.
and then we'll come back and solidify the weld all the way with a root or a cover pass.
Right on.
Some of this is reconfigured, so this is new. This is still bolt on. The other thing I noticed, the previous bedside mounts, the rotation where this, you know, the bedside mount slides into this, it wasn't at the same angle and you know, rotation as the bottom. So when you took the bolts out, it was really hard to juggle the tube out of there because it was cocked in a different way.
Okay.
You know.
So they just made it a little easier for it to fall out.
Yeah.
I mean, to come off.
And it had another tie-in tube going to here. And with this kind of stuff, this is enough structure that it doesn't need that. And when you do another tie-in tube here, that eliminates you being able to, if you slap something with this bedside and it bends, you can still get this thing out because these tubes can still kind of move around.
Okay.
If it's triangulated, you're just stuck with what you get, and you might be just, you know, sawzall or
Right, to get it off.
getting that thing off in a bad way.
Okay.
So we did that.
Well, honestly, dude, I mean, I think one of the first things I did when you sent me a picture of this, I was like, man, that thing looks like aggressive.
Yeah.
It looks cool. Like, I like how this, even just the angle of all this, just looks
Yeah.
really cool. I think it fits like the inside of the truck. You know what I mean? Like, it just looks
Yeah.
like.
And the front end has some miters on it too. Obviously, the front clips on, but if you look at like the tubes coming from the upper portion of the chassis where the windshield tube is, and then going out towards the front, and the shock mounts are running, there's a miter like that too. So it's just kind of a
Yeah.
I like miters.
It's a cool vibe for the truck.
Yeah.
And then why was this guy put here?
That's a stopper for the 40s.
Okay.
So you know, if this goes up, and then you have another guy that'll hold it in line where they'll both hit the same.
Okay.
And it's not going to stagger in, especially when you put a strap on it. It's something
Like it'll start pushing in
something to
when
put
you
tension
strap it.
into. Yeah, instead
Got
of-
it.
If you didn't have that, you'd have 140 here, and then you'd have another one that would push back, and they'd be like a little step. And I thought about doing that design, but it just didn't look right.
Okay, you felt that this was the best way
Yeah,
to do it.
just double verticals like that. You know?
Maybe we could throw some spares in here to kind of get a better feel of it. But no, this is great, man. I mean, and you guys were able to keep like this old structure here, you know, and just kind of build off it with what we talked about.
Yeah, we tried to just do the least amount possible and save the chassis.
Well, what I love about this is it looks like the 40 is going to be able to tuck in, right? I mean, what do you think? Is
It's
it?
not going to do what you're leading up this.
No, it's not.
No,
It's
but
not.
close.
Tell
It's
me.
close.
Tell me. Tell me.
We'll put it in and I'll show you.
Okay, let's see it.
The other thing is the beds. I don't know what this is here for, so we're just gonna leave this. There's a really weird shape here.
Right.
It looks like someone just got really artistic with the fiberglass or something. But
Maybe fill all this in.
well, you know, the best thing to do. I don't want to trim this because then you're gonna get super wobble master here. And if you leave this return, which is like this edge that's broke down on here, it gives it some structure. So if we just cut that out to make it look better, we're gonna have to. We might already need to tag another mount into here,
Okay.
just to hold this run.
Yeah.
You know, that only gets worse.
Right, right. Well, what I was thinking too is, I mean, I could always go to like a fiberglass shop.
Yeah.
You know, or I could always go back to Fiberworks and kind of see if they could fill this in, or if they have any ideas on how to do that.
The other thing for people too is if you need fiberglass repairs, a really cheap alternative is taking stuff to a place that does boat stuff. Those guys are really good. Any kind of marine stuff, they're really good, and this is such small scale work for them that is very efficient on pricing.
It's like, oh, just this instead of something crazy.
Big ass boats, so
Yeah.
it's just way easier to handle like that.
Not a bad idea, man.
These are trimmed, so on this side, you know, the front got trimmed significantly.
Okay.
I remember that you weren't super pleased on how much of this artificial fender flare was on there.
Right.
So that got trimmed to fit the 40.
Okay.
This I kind of just followed up in the back and made the best shape we can, not only to fit the 40, but just to not have a big 4-inch droopy, you know, fake wheel arch in there, and then
Yeah.
have that one trimmed.
Right. Yeah, no, I like this, dude. I mean, like, this is like the old kind of like Nissan way that they would do their old kind of fender flares. It'd be kind of cool to like smooth this out, but yeah. But I mean, I don't know, man. I might just have to change that someday too.
I like that. I think that keeps a factory look. It retains a little factory look. It
Okay.
doesn't mean that we have to like do the wrap any different. We'll just keep it, and it doesn't have to be painted different or have a contrast color on it.
Just keep it all the same, yeah.
simple.
That's how I did it before.
The other thing that was really wild on this bedside, there was, you know, there's like a vent or a cutout shape that they put in here.
32 inches.
And
Okay.
it sit like it had a huge shape change, like a contour here that didn't match. There's probably like a inch gap in here.
Oh, okay.
So I figured that what we could do is I'm gonna tag another mount here just to hold this. Trim the bedside mount, so this upper part does its job, and then we'll do like a ducting in here, just
Okay.
for shock cooling and venting.
Nice.
So what's nice is like this little trim piece here can represent the trim piece that's up here,
That's up here.
and it'll
Oh,
just
okay.
kind of carry the design through the truck, and you'll just have the little accent pieces like that.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's a great idea.
The only other place we'd maybe do that would just be in the grill area. We need
Okay.
to have something.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've kind of been a little curious about what you had in mind for that, but
Yeah, I think this would be like a final thing that we'll do before it goes to powder.
okay.
But it's just going to be a packaging issue. I just need to see how this hood cycles because it's a 2-stage hinge. So it's like a lift off the pins and then it drops forward in front of the tube here for the bumper. And then it goes up. So you can't just build a shape that fits perfectly in here. You have to kind of build it to where it goes through the mechanisms and it doesn't get hung up on that. It might be something that's even just, instead of fixing it to a one piece, we have it inside and it just lives on the chassis in front of the radiator.
Okay.
And we're good like that.
Yeah, whatever you're thinking, man. I'm good with it. I trust you.
Cool.
Well, that's cool, man. It seems like a lot of stuff's been going on. And what's next for this thing?
Oh, I think it's been 3 updates now where I've talked about doing the sheet metal inside.
Oh, right.
That.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's like haunting me now, so I will take the time.
Now you gotta do
I've
it
said
next
it
time.
already where I will finish it. But
We're gonna hold you to it, Morgan. That's
yeah,
it. That's it.
I think that's primary. The other thing, we started tabbing, so I tabbed 2 whip lights on here,
Okay.
or whip tabs.
Okay.
So those guys will be there, and then we just have your race radio antenna that'll be tabbed on the inside here.
Okay.
I've been like welding odds and ends. There's a lot of stuff that's not welded on here.
Okay.
So before this thing goes to powder coat, we just need to go through the entire thing, plumb it, and make sure that everything's welded.
Right.
The exhaust is another thing. So I think for Tony on his list, Tony's one of my guys. We're gonna do skid plate on the whole underbelly. So that
Okay.
can be something to look forward to doing.
Okay.
That'll be done by the next update. Probably dumping the exhaust out is something that can happen. I don't think it has room to run anywhere wild.
You don't think so?
No, so I think we just run it the best we can, as far as we can, before it gets hung up by the upper links or so the packaging on here is gonna chop it somewhere.
Yeah, we gotta figure it out. I mean, definitely for it being quiet, I'd kind of want it like as far away
For sure.
as possible. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Just because you know how noisy it gets real quick.
I don't like any of the big elephant things. If it's not a race truck, then don't put stuff like that. So, yeah, like ideally, if we could have it come all the way out to the back before the tail light and out the side of the bedside, that's prime.
For reals, I mean, I'm all about that. That would be cool because I mean, although the noise is cool and it sounds cool, dude. I mean, when you're pre-running it and you're everywhere and you got your kids and stuff, like I don't know, that's just not me. I'd
Yeah.
rather have it be a little quiet.
Yeah, I mean, to each his own with that. It's not it's just a personal choice. The reservoirs are mounted here for the coilover too, so that got done. And then the other thing that'll be done is fuel filler. So,
Oh, so that's where it's gonna be mounted.
well, I think we do the filler here or over here, but I don't want to fill it in this void. This is too nice of a shape right here
Okay.
to just stuff a filler in one side.
Okay.
So we have all the parts for it. Just need to get it somewhere appropriate where it's not going to be like a centerpiece.
Somewhere easy, boom,
Yeah.
access.
This should be the focal point of the back of the chassis.
Okay.
Having a nice shock mount like that, and then just putting a fuel filler where it's a secondary read. You have a primary first thing you look at, and then a secondary where you look at that. Next. So all that will be welded. Straps, hooks, that'll all be done for the back. We'll cut to looking at it with the spares on it.
Yep.
Fuel filler will be done. Skid plates under the truck will be done, tabbed.
It's becoming a truck.
Definitely.
I'm like-
and there's stuff missing out of it right
Yeah.
now. But it's all tabs. Like we've already gone through this with the seats, with the harnesses.
Yeah, we pull it all out to
Fire
make
out.
it easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of welding. There's probably 2 or 3 days worth of welding on this thing full time.
Okay.
I started to do it. Like I obviously got the cage. I started to do some of the silicone bronze for the sheet metal, but I just think once we have it fully enclosed, then just got to send it on all the welding.
Those are some pretty big accomplishments.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
it almost seems
Yeah.
like it's almost ready to leave here.
All the hard lines are done, obviously, for the radiator up front, but all the soft lines need to be done, gone over. I think that I'm going to have Tony handle all of the brake stuff on here, so that'll be done in-house. but that's it.
Pretty exciting, guys. I mean, I kind of feel like, okay, all right, but like it's crazy to really see this come together.
Yeah.
It really is, guys. So, yeah, let's see what this looks like with the tires on. But I mean, man, I love the way the rear end looks, just like this. And then we'll kind of talk about what you wanted to talk about. Oh, and I got lights for this thing too.
I need those.
I gave them to you.
Okay, then they're up there.
They're probably up there
They're in
somewhere.
the pile.
Yeah. And there it is.
So,
Dude.
James has stressed about trying to run a tailgate on here. This is as close as we could do into the chassis without cutting deep into the chassis.
Okay.
I think that if you wanted to pull it off, you could do a radiused panel on here that represents the tailgate.
Yeah.
Here, just a couple.
It's like, dude,
It's really close.
it's crazy how close it is.
So that's what I'm saying. If you did a panel that looks really similar to just a Nissan Frontier tailgate, and you do the brakes in the same way, and even put a Nissan logo on the back or something, you could pull that off and just have it Zeus button on, you know, like a normal quarter turn panel would be. And, you know, just have its edge come here and then notch around the tire.
Yeah.
And you'd be sealed and done. I think the bedside, yeah, it's almost, you'd have a little bit sticking out the bottom.
Yeah.
That's fine.
No, dude, that's, I mean, incredible, man. I mean, just to see this thing with these size tires on it, it seems very, very close now, man.
It doesn't seem like they're too big of tires.
No, it fits. It's crazy.
When the truck had 37s, it seemed like the 37s were too small.
Yeah.
Too small a tire. And now the way it's like proportioned, it seems good.
Yeah, that's insane, dude. And then this is exactly how I pictured it. Like barely coming out. Super clean.
So.
Yeah, that's it right there, man. That looks rad, more.
And I like this ride height. Like if we can keep this is real proper stance on this thing.
Yeah. Oh, I like that too. It looks incredible. Wow. I'm like, dude, Jensen, check.
Love that. I mean,
Dude, Jensen, look. Dude, check this out. This is the first time I got to see it with the double 40s back here stacked.
Come on, Jensen, get in here.
Check this out, man. Clark, come here, look, son. Look at this, dude. So look, we have big old race tires back here. What do you think? He thinks it's awesome. It's a good stance, man.
For how long the truck is, and it's cool because it's got that RC car proportion where the cab is really small.
Yeah.
The glass is big. Like it
does. I mean, look at the glass
like
from here.
Scale truck you could like toss on the ground.
Right. Well, this looks great, man. Thank you, Morgan. Thanks for making this happen, dude. This is exactly what I wanted. This is the exact look I wanted for the back of this thing. I didn't mean to be such a whiny baby, but dude, it's been so many years. I wanted this thing to look just right. So.
Make it right.
Well, thank you, brother. Well, guys, so we got a lot of stuff coming up next time on this thing. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's coming together very quickly. Super stoked. Thank you guys so much, man, for just killing it on this thing. We'll see you guys hopefully in another 2 weeks, or we don't know what the hell how we're going to combine these,
2
but
weeks.
it's going to happen. Later, guys.